rims, no
double
jumpers.
rims.
Yeah, no jumpers.
I show up at a gym. I show up at a park and I see double rims, no jumpers.
No jumpers.
No, I am not shooting a jumper, right? That's how he has to play, with the level of force. And then when they get stops or steals and he gets in broken floor situations, you can get into him in 4-on-3s, in 3-on-2s, rim run situations where he can get duck-ins. That's where I want to see him be dominant.
You were not alone in challenging Giannis to cover Kevin Durant. And do you know what Giannis did last night? Covered Kevin Durant. It was obvious out there for everyone to see. However, I think he does deserve a salute for taking the challenge, covering KD. And KD was very different in Game 6 than he was in Game 5.
Well, KD had a historic game the time before. And that's what I was trying to say to you. I was like, if he can duplicate that, then yes, they'll close it out. If he can't duplicate that, I said I was taking the Bucks plus 10.
It's hard to duplicate 49 and 17 and 10.
It's never been done. It's never been done. He was the first person to do it. And so it was the fourth quarter to me as it related to them doing a great job of doing a team effort of slowing down slowing down KD. And how about this? PJ Tucker had a plus 30.
Wow.
PJ Tucker. We're going to talk about these headliners, and rightfully so. We're going to talk about Giannis. We're going to talk about KD. We're going to get to Harden. Of course, they're playing without Kyrie. But PJ Tucker has been a revelation for this team. And so the way Middleton has been played offensively, that's what Tucker brought to the core of the team defensively. And lastly, Drew Holiday got over 20. They needed those buckets.
If I'm the Bucks, I'm concerned. Can I tell you why I'm concerned if I'm the Bucks? James Harden looked a lot better in Game 6 than he did in Game 5.
He did.
And he's trending in a healthy direction.
He is.
And in Game 7 at home, after a couple days rest more, something tells me we're going to have a James Harden impact on the game like he didn't in Game 5 and Game 6.
Well, he's going to have an impact as long as Giannis guarding him. I purposely pulled up these plays because it seems like he didn't go at nobody except Giannis.
This was Giannis.
He's like, anybody else on him, I could have been on it. He just walking and standing. As soon as Giannis get on, he go in his bag.
People forget they went back and forth. Do you remember that? They went back and forth. Yes. James Harden has a little thing for Giannis, and when he sees Giannis in front of him, he's like, I guess now's gonna be my effort possession.
Exactly. Now's gonna be my effort possession. Exactly. If I get hurt breaking him down, then so be it. Fine. But I ain't gonna get hurt breaking down somebody else.
Well, we will be breaking down Game 7, but we have some other big news to get to, and that is Kemba Walker is no longer with the Boston Celtics. He has been traded for
Al
Horford, who is returning to the Celtics after literally not playing for the Thunder. Jalen, what does this move tell you about the Celtics strategy moving forward?
Well, before we talk about the Celtics strategy, I'm going to acknowledge the Oklahoma City Thunder strategy, who have been the best feeder system the NBA has had to offer for the past handful of years. However, they have 36 draft picks over these next 7 or 8 drafts, 18 in the first and 18 in the second. They have a chance to truly rebuild their roster. And you and I both love Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Love
this
him.
is just really about a future move for them. For Celtics, it was getting off of Kemba's salary.
Yeah.
And it was getting him off the ball. That's really all this move was about. Al Horford, when the Celtics were at their best like a handful of years ago when Isaiah Thomas was their leading scorer, Al Horford led the team in assists. And also he's going to bring you some quality leadership in the locker room. So I like this move for the Boston Celtics.
This, to me, isn't about what happens on the basketball court. This is about what happens on the spreadsheet. This is about contracts and movement and then getting off of Horford's deal eventually quicker than you can get off Kemba's. But I don't see this being great for the Celtics. I don't think Al Horford's all of a sudden going to show up and be the Al Horford that you mentioned from 4 years ago.
The whole goal was to get off of Kemba. Remember, they had Isaiah Thomas. They had Kyrie Irving. When Kyrie does not decide to stay, they went in scramble mode. They sure did. And so instead of it being a big 3 in Boston, it's a big 3 with the Nets.
Jalen, the Thunder have 3 first-round picks this year. They're basically going to be like a college team. They're going to be a college team next year. And as you mentioned, over the course of the next 3 years, they're truly tearing everything down to rebuild it. And around 2025, 2026, they're going to be in the conversation. There is a conversation to be had about what is happening in Dallas. There was the Athletic article a few days ago, and then Donnie Nelson yesterday. And today the news is what, Mr. Rose?
You know how much I love Rick Carlisle. He was associate head coach with the Indiana Pacers while I was there. He was a guy to help me learn how to watch film, show me how to come off screens, and really work with my game.
You have never fixed your lips and said anything critical about Rick Carlisle?
Nah, dog.
Ever?
Nah, dog, because I remember those times 2, 3 in the morning, we on the road drinking red wine. I'm in his room learning the game. So that's my guy. He's a basketball genius, and he walks into an office and he says, "Hey, Mark Cuban, you know I had your ear for almost the last 15 years, 13 seasons, right?
Yep.
But I know Luka got your ear now." That's just how this game works. And so to me, when you see the Mavs making moves, it has to be because Luka's in one ear telling Mark Cuban, these are the things that will make me re-sign. You're Mark Cuban. The only thing you're making moves on your chessboard to do right now is to get Luka to re-sign.
Yep.
And if you're Rick Carlisle, you know what you can do? There's 7 vacancies.
7 open jobs right now.
And let's talk about a couple of those jobs. I mentioned his ties to the Indiana Pacers. Do they have a coach?
No.
Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's not tied to that job. Secondly, where did he play primarily and win a championship with Larry Bird?
The Celtics.
Correct.
Do they have a head coach?
They don't have a head coach.
Interesting.
And I'm pretty sure they're going to want an experienced coach because when you have Tatum and Brown and you're playing under the lights of Red Auerbach and the banners of Bill Russell, it's going to be championship or bust mentality. And so I would not be surprised if 3-2-1, we start looking down at the ticker and Woj just tweeting that he's affiliated with not only both of those jobs, but if I'm the Celtics, I'll go ahead and get it done.
Jalen, not only do we have a big trade, not only do we have a new interesting head coaching vacancy, but we have some news about Zion Williamson. Apparently, he has some family members that are unhappy with the Pelicans, jeopardizing his future with the team that drafted him number 1. What do you think about this?
I don't think this is fair to Zion and his family members.
Oh!
Because we're not talking about Luka's family members being unhappy. We're talking about him being unhappy. And who does Zion's parents take cues from? The person in uniform. That check is in his name, okay? And the difference in their situations is this. Luka led his team to the playoffs. Zion played with another all-star in Brandon Ingram. They make the playoffs. Ja Morant played almost the entire year without Jaren Jackson Jr. They made the playoffs in the West. So, of course, Zion is unhappy with them not making the playoffs.
They didn't even make the play-in.
Correct.
Like, they didn't make the play-in. And you know what? Zion should be unhappy.
Correct.
Look at their roster.
Correct.
I'd be unhappy too.
Steven Adams, Eric Bledsoe.
Like, look at their roster and then look at their performance. Like, I would be unhappy as well. For me, it's defense. Mm-hmm. This team in the bubble, it was just a turnstile to the basket. It was like, go ahead. And that was the problem in the bubble. Did they improve on that next season?
So I got an unpopular opinion.
What's that?
And I saw this with Embiid and Simmons. I'm just gonna put this out there. I wish Zion and Ingram were more compatible, offensively and defensively. Let me tell you why. The last 5 minutes of the game, Zion's either gonna be your biggest or your second biggest guy out there. You know what he isn't? A defender in the paint at the rim.
Ooh.
And you know what Brandon Ingram isn't? Physical. He's a thin player. He's just a thin guy. And so now when these 4s and 5s in the West come barreling in town, and all of these guards with all these dribble, drive, handoff, and give and go actions, that's why they get scored on. And so it's gonna be interesting for me to see when it's time to close the game and they're really trying to take it to a building around Zion, who's gonna be the other guy out there with them up front? Because now Ingram is gonna basically be your 3, right?
And you know I love Steven Adams, but it ain't him.
No, not gonna be able to do it. I love
Steven Adams, but it ain't him.
They need a guy. They need like a Jaren Jackson Jr. type player.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. And I'll give you another one. Like they probably don't want to pay him now, but like a John Collins type player. So when you watch John Collins play, right, most people don't realize what he does is unique. Because when I watch it, I was like, it's something unique about what I'm seeing with this dude. He's one of like 3 players in the last 25 years of the NBA. The last 25 years of the NBA to make 63s and have 60 dunks.
Interesting.
Sean Marion and Anthony Davis, the other 2.
Interesting.
Okay, so to me, that's what they're going to have to figure. What else happens up front? And then finally, what happens with Lonzo Ball? He's gone. He's a $20 million player now. Once he improved his jump shot,
he's gone.
Exactly. So now you're not only looking for something on the interior, you're looking for somebody to run a PG.
You know whose name we didn't say very much on this show? Eric Bledsoe.
No.
Didn't say his name too often.
No.
Said Drew Holiday's name a lot.
No.
Didn't say his name very much. 2 names we will say coming up. 2 stars with their backs